Are you wondering why everyone seems to be getting poorer? Why houses are sort of like shooting out of the reach of ordinary people and even people earning quite good salaries? Why, even when stock markets are kind of rising and governments are telling us the economy is doing really well and inflation is coming down, you're still poorer? Why, food bank use is rising? I want to talk a little bit about the story we've been told about the economic system and what they've got wrong and why. This isn't an accident that we have governments and sort of like metrics that are telling us that everything's fine when we are feeling the pinch. So any economic system that we want to kind of put in place in a society, you'd think it must have like an ethical basis, and you'd be right. And the economic theories that like underlie this system hold that if we leave, in simplified terms, if we leave everything to the market, by which we mean capital, that's it kind of in parentheses, it's not highlighted. If we leave everything to the market, this is the best solution for society. Everyone does better. And another sort of side note, leaving everything to the market, which is really capital, is sort of contorted into if we let everyone pursue their own self-interest with no regard to anyone else, and then we let everyone bobble about and do that, we come up with a social optimum for everybody. Everyone does the best they can. This is the best situation for society. So you can see there's an increasing gap between the promise of this system, the theory behind it that justifies it, why we have put it in place, and the actual reality, empirical reality, how it's performing. And the more empirical reality appears to diverge, the more we get economists, we don't really even hear from economists these days, but we still use the metrics that these orthodox economists have given us, and our governments are still talking in this language of within this framework and using these metrics, these kind of, so we don't talk about the distribution or like how much the median person is earning or the bottom 20%. We don't really look at distribution at all. We look at total pie. And even when the total pie isn't growing very much, like the one promise of this of economists is that this system is the best way at least to increase the overall pie. And even when it fails on its own objectives, there is no kind of critique or step back. We just push forward. And all of this kind of must lead one to the conclusion that the point of this theory is not to describe reality. It's not to improve welfare. It's not to improve the overall pie. Who's benefiting in this system? The richest and most powerful, who are successfully taking more and more of the overall pie over time. Stratospheric growth. Over 3 years to 2024, the class of billionaires, their wealth doubled. Meanwhile, like globally, because this is a global system now, 5 billion people fell further into poverty. So this, if we are to sort of teleologically, which is basically look at the purpose of a theory or an idea by the actual practical effect of it, the practical effect is defending and rationalising power. The point of this system seems to be to liberate the rich, to take more and more and more. It rationalises power. It rationalises a power system and lets us all believe that by various various sleights of hand, that this is a fair system, a reasonable system. And failing all that, inevitable, the only one possible, without resorting to sort of totalitarian control and the bogeyman of a sort of totalitarian communist state. And so I feel this is the crux of the issue. We have been sold an economic theory and a system that is put forward as fair and free and democratic. You get this tying of free markets and democracy as if they have any relation to each other, when you can actually see the tendency, like empirically, like the reality of this system is that power is continually concentrating in each and every market and privately in terms of individual capitalists. The rich only get richer. They're pulling away from even the sort of moderately rich. Meanwhile, everyone below the top 5% who are sort of working as handlers and enablers of capital are slowly seeing their purchasing power and their ability to afford rent and energy and food erode. Cut this bit, okay. And the reason why there's this confusion, this hunt for a saviour, is people feel the establishment is not on their side. They feel they're being lied to. They feel society disintegrating in them and their families getting poorer. You know, people being poorer than their parents in terms of where they can afford to live and just their security and the quality of public goods, education, NHS, everything's fracturing and getting poorer. And yet the economy is humming along, not fine, but it's technically growing. So where is all this income and wealth going? It's going to the top. And not just the kind of the top, it's going to a minuscule proportion of people, 0.1%. We have a system that isn't working for even a large minority. It's operating in the interest of the most powerful. That is what this system is doing. And sorry, I've got my high horse, haven't I? My soapbox. And basically what I want to do is break down. I've spent a lot of my life thinking about this since I graduated in 2008 into a terrible recession caused by the hubris of bankers, and just started reading everything there was from a sort of critical perspective. And then I did a couple of degrees in economics. I thought I should understand, the orthodox view, so I really understand. I'm not, skipping any steps. And basically what I want to do is explain to people what is actually happening in the economy, why things just keep getting worse and worse, and yet we've been told, and there's a sense that it's just a free and fair market. This is just freedom. So yeah, I haven't prepared very much, so it's not very articulate, this, but hopefully it is kind of heartfelt and you resonate. So yeah, if you want to understand more about this disconnect between what we've been told about the system and then how it's actually working, and then once we kind of sift through a little bit of that, come up with some like really broad ideas as to solutions, like what's a better way to organise us, a better way to organise the economy and society. So yeah, that's what I want to do.